doing business as. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Lawrence J. Meads, 333 Saratoga Street, East Boston, Mass.
Okay. And can you tell us what you're...
Yeah, I'm up here requesting a change for a DBA to Frank Suffolk Diner from Suffolk Diner LLC.
Okay, and you're going to continue, is it the same operators of,
Yes.
of the diner? It is, okay, great. Any questions from the commission?
No.
No, I have no questions.
Yeah. Is there a motion on the table?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 I'll say,
Thank you very
thank
much
you.
for your time.
NIA Entertainment Holdings, LLC, doing business as Showcase Cinema Revere. Please state your name and record for the
It's David
for the
Maloney.
record, please. Thank you. And you're applying for a one-day malt wine license?
Yep.
And can you tell us what you're planning to do?
Yep, we already run a bar. We have a full-time liquor license, but we're doing a grand opening. We got a renovation. We got new seats. We got luxury leather reclining seats. We have one of our X Plus auditoriums that we just opened up that just got the new seats, and we kind of revamped our bar, and we're just trying to get it, like a new start on it, kind of show people what the seats are. So we're having like a little get together. So we want people to be able to walk around outside of the bar as well, because it only fits 71 people in the bar. So we won't be able to fit everybody.
So this is within the establishment, but outside the bar area?
Pretty much just, mingling right outside the bar.
Okay. Have you set any parameters in terms of how far outside the bar area?
We'll have staging set up and everything with drapery.
Okay. I don't have any questions.
You haven't changed the number of seating at the
Nope,
bar, have
no.
you? There's been no change in the seating.
Yep, no, it's still the same.
And the bars are still in the same?
Yep. Yeah, we just kind of, gave it a fresh look. It didn't move or anything.
Okay.
You'll have detail on?
Yep.
How many do you expect? How many patrons?
How many? It's a VIP event, so we'll probably only have about 150 people for it.
Great. Any other questions?
One detail?
I'm actually not sure, but I'll make sure that there is somebody.
Sean, how many detail is needed for that?
Normally, when they have an event at the or when they have a regular night at the bar, there's a officer for the restaurant bar and another officer for the showcase for the cinema itself. So the normal contingent of detail would probably be sufficient.
Okay.
Great.
So you'll be serving alcohol in the lobby area, is that what you're saying?
So we'll be serving it at the bar. We'll have a portable stand right outside the bar, so we will be serving right outside the bar as well. But it was more so just so people can actually leave the restaurant area. That's more so why we were looking for it.
But it will be roped off in some
Yeah.
fashion?
We'll have, like I said, we're renting draperies so we can have it all roped off. So. And it's a VIP event, so we're actually making it so only the VIP come in the back. So only the people coming in the back will be subject to the event. So none of the general public will even be coming near it. So it's just the people that are invited to it.
Great. Any other questions?
I have no other questions.
Are there any proponents that want to speak on behalf of this event? Hearing and seeing none, are there any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that. Is there a motion on the table?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Was there a second to that?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You're all set. Thank you very much. Item number 3 is North Shore 1A Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Wonderland Convenience Store. Application for a new common victualers and malt wine package store license. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Attorney Tom Truax of Salem, Massachusetts, on behalf of the proposed licensee. With me is Mr. M.D. Rahman, who is the sole officer, director, and shareholder of the proposed corporation.
Great, thank you. And can you give us some details on what you're proposing today?
Yeah, as I said, Mr. Rahman is the sole shareholder, the sole stakeholder in this endeavor. He's a Revere resident. He has 2 children, married children at the public schools here. Owns 2 convenience stores already in Revere, the Super Convenient on Shirley Avenue and the Quick Food Store on Revere Street. He also owns a convenience store in Lynn. In reference to the prospective project here, he is he is proposing to take over the site of the former Wonderland Marble and Stone Company, which is on the southbound side of Route North Shore. I'm sure you know where it is, Route 1A. Now, before he got to this point, Mr. Rahman had to go before the planning board, speak with the city councilor, the ward councilor for that area, went through extensive work with the planning board, with the architect, his architect, and what have you, in order to get this all set up so that it would be appropriate to apply to the building department. He did that. Plans were approved. In terms of the component for alcohol, for beer and wine, I believe the board has a copy of the plan. We're talking about, there's a 7-door cooler on the right side. The beer and wine component would merely be housed in four of those compartments on the 7-door cooler. And it's not a huge proposal in terms of beer and wine, but I mean, he's done a nice job of bringing this from an eyesore, I believe, down in that area. And I've driven by there a few times the past couple of weeks, and it's come a long ways. He's just about finished there. But in terms of as I said, the beer and wine component, it's merely just part of the 7-door cooler that he will have on the right side of the store.
So where will that be in relationship to the front counter?
So the front counter is totally on. If I'm looking at the store from the parking lot, it's over. The cooler is on the right side, right in front of the storage area, which is in the back. The counter area is over here. He'll have a clear view of everyone coming in and out of the store, so he'll always have a clear view of what's going on down in the beer and wine aisle. Obviously, he'll have security cameras there as well, so I think there's going to be enough eyes to make sure that nothing's going on. There's no exits. The public has to come in over on this side.
On Sagamore?
Yes.
On Sagamore?
So there's everything over on that corner, so there's nothing that's going to not pass by him that he won't be able to see.
So you show in the diagram that there's 2 exits on Sagamore Street and 1 on North Shore Road. So the one furthest back towards the rear of the store would be closed. Is that
That is closed. That was something that the fire department required as an additional emergency exit, but that'll be a closed exit. It's not a public entrance or exit at all. Strictly everything is coming from this side, this corner here, and the storage is over on this side.
You're right. I'm sorry. Is that Shawmut Street, not Sagamore? Isn't Sagamore? It is Sagamore?
Sagamore is a hill. No.
Sagamore runs down the hill off of Broadway. I mean, off of Broadway, Revere Street.
Yeah, Sagamore is
And
So what does it come in and turn? Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I'm just looking at the architectural floor plan and the site plan. He labels it Sagamore Street, but at the corner of Sagamore and North Shore Road.
Yeah, that's Sagamore.
Okay. Gotcha. Just want to.
In terms of the common victualler aspect, all this is a matter of the serving of the coffee and possibly Richie's slush, and that's it. Now, Mr. Rahman has had experience in the beer and wine industry, not in Massachusetts. He was previously, before he came to Massachusetts, he was 5 years down in Florida working at a Chevron gas station which sold beer and wine. All gas stations in Florida pretty much sell beer and wine. As part of the Chevron training, he was required to do a 12-hour training course before he even commenced employment. Similar to a TIPS training, but a little bit different. It was their own in-house training session for beer and wine. Now, since Mr. Rahman has not been in Massachusetts with liquor experience since 2009, I've requested and asked him, there's a December 2nd, I believe, training course. I do it with the Massachusetts Package Store Owners Association. There's one down in Rockland, and they have it on I believe it's Tuesday night, or it's December 2nd. It's coming up in December. Mm-hmm. And I've asked him to sign up and attend that, to bring him, to refresh him as to the requirements in Massachusetts. I mean, I've gone over it with him, but the course is a good course, and I always recommend my clients take it.
Great.
It's specifically geared to package stores.
And how many employees do you expect to have in the establishment at any one time during hours?
In the beginning, probably 2, then must have 3.
Okay, so at least 2.
Yeah. This,
Gotcha. And I assume that they would.
of course, the manager.
Yeah, Mr. Rahman is the proposed manager.
And what do you expect to put in terms of time into the establishment?
Minimum of 40 hours every week, a minimum of 40 hours. I know just how he works, his work ethic, I think it's going to be a lot more than that.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, with the package store, I mean, granted, it's not a huge beer and wine component, but still with the package store, obviously the biggest hour from noon on. The morning is pretty much a real slow period. But from 3 to close, that's the hours that he really wants to make sure he's there. So.
Okay. And tell me how you plan to deal with after hours of serving alcohol. Not serving alcohol, but selling alcohol.
No, there is no way to sell, violate the law.
Right. He knows the hours. He'll be closed, but he'll be closed, and that's it. I mean, you only
So you're not.
This is a package store. This is a second.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is theoretically, the establishment could stay open for, other things besides just
no.
beer and wine.
I think, what are your hours going to be?
Yeah, our going to be normal at 6 to 11 every day, our convenience item to sell, we fresh for every day.
His hours at night certainly are not going to go
It's like-
over, so when the 11 o'clock hour hits, the store is going to close anyway.
Okay, great. And what do you what is your plan in terms of amusement devices or entertainment devices? Do you plan on doing anything with that?
No, there is no entertainment.
So there's no television, radio,
Yeah,
no.
probably news stand and anything, it's not posted yet. I mean, it's,
Okay.
it's fairly new, and we don't want to spend more money than we make.
Right now, the only thing he's intending, he's already been applied for and approved by is the lottery, and that's it. Just straight scratch tickets and the lottery machine.
Okay.
The deal.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. What percentage of the business is going to be alcohol? What portion of the building?
In terms of floor space, we're probably talking maybe,
15 to 20%.
no, and floor space, we're probably talking maybe 5 to 10% floor space. As to what the percentage of sales are going to come up to, I don't think he knows right at the time. It certainly is not going to be it's not going to be greater. I mean, certainly not going to be the majority of it. But with any typical package store, you got your cigarettes, you got your lottery, you got your grocery items, you got your candy, and you have your beer and wine. So, 10, 15, 20%, that would be ideal in any convenience store, package store situation. I mean, this is not a package store, all alcoholic beverages license where you're just selling alcohol. This is a convenience
Well,
store.
that's what I don't want it to turn into.
Right.
As a package store, beer and
Right.
wine package store. I
No.
wouldn't approve of that.
That's not even my plan.
Okay, and any
This is not
entertainment,
to really,
any entertainment, whether it be machines or whatever you have, that is a special license.
There is no space for much anyhow, and I'm not going to do that.
You don't have any in your other businesses at all, any machines,
No more.
no more?
No more.
They're gone?
Last year I came for I think you remember that.
Right.
It's gone. It's not worth it for business.
Okay, so you can't put them here either.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The concern I have is, as you say, you're using Sagamore Hill. Sagamore Hill, it's highly residential. Sagamore Hill goes down, I'm very familiar with the area, turns onto Charlotte Street, which is where you're going to put it, where the marble place was. From North Shore Road, because of the problems of that area, North Shore Road, we used to have a cutoff there, that you could go down Charlotte Street and go up Sagamore Hill, and they had to cut that off because the traffic was so heavy going through the neighborhood. And that's the concern I have with putting that there. It is a highly residential area. There's a lot of children in that area. And you're only going to have that one access. You either have to come down Sagamore Hill, go through the whole neighborhood, which is several streets, and then take a left onto Charlotte Street.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to have to get there.
Yeah, it's kind of now,
And-
I'm in a difficult situation. I signed the lease, and after a couple of months, I threw up all this site plan, we do all this system, time and stuff. And all of a sudden, the board also told me the same thing. That, we're going to have only one way, you're going to make any money. And they said, it's already, this has been signed, I spent so much money already, and I have no way to back up. So, okay, we'll try.
But what I'm getting to is there are certain hours that you can use Sagamore Hill. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know that. It's
Okay.
7 a.m. to 9 a.m. you get in.
Right. And after school, they usually have someone there, again, controlling the traffic.
Yeah.
So to get down Sagamore Hill, that's how much traffic is in that area now with the children and the residents. So I'm extremely concerned about that. I don't think these people are going to go all the way down to North Shore Road at the red light, come down North Shore Road, and then take a right on Charlotte Street. I think this is really, we're looking at our neighborhood putting up with this traffic, with the beer and wine, with your convenience store.
No,
It was
now it's
Wonderland.
one way out, the North Shore people cannot even get in, so it's not gonna be affecting any outside people from the neighborhood. The neighborhood people is gonna be benefited from the convenience system. They're gonna have to make the break.
My understanding is that that street is a one-way.
Otherwise, they have to close the street, which is go to 7-Eleven or the
Yeah, I agree.
Which is more dangerous than, I have one store.
Right, but we also have 2 liquor stores right across the street.
Yeah, across the
You
street.
have one block that's a full package store license.
Yeah.
The next block is beer and wine.
That's why I
So-
help out the neighborhood, make sure they don't have to close the street to have a more accident than it.
Yeah, but I just don't know if there's another need.
Why not get the little bit things that need?
Well, my opinion is, I don't know that there's a need down there for another package store, when you could cross the street very easily. And the traffic going through, as you say, and actually, if you went to the right, didn't go up to the left, you could go the right, another package store right on the Ave. So, that area concerns me only because of the residents in that area. A lot of children in that area. You're saying you think you're going to make, I don't know, if they close it off the area at certain times, it shows you how much traffic there is, and you're not going to be able to use it. If your customers are to use it during those hours, there will be consequences. It's for people with their children going home and walking. So I find it a very tough spot to put a beer and wine license. That's my opinion. I have no other questions.
Well, I don't know if the beer and wine, I mean, you got a convenience store as well. I mean, you're faulting the convenience store having a beer and wine. I don't think that's going to make or break the project.
Well,
here.
any license there. The marble place that was there for many, many years. They didn't do any kind, I mean, they did business, but maybe 3-4 customers a day. That's all they had. This will draw a lot of customers, you're right, and that's my concern.
Well, you're also going to draw a lot of with that neighborhood, you're also going to be drawing a lot of pedestrian traffic. I mean, he's obviously going to rely more on the pedestrian traffic than he is going to be on vehicular traffic, I would hope. I mean, that's the whole reason for having a neighborhood convenience. You don't want to have people coming there. Obviously, he does have parking there just in case. That's what the
How
planning
many parking spots does he have
7
there?
You know, the planning board required 7 parking spaces.
Every 200 square feet, they require one.
Right.
So that's why.
That's just standard parking requirements.
Well, I can only go by the planning board. I can tell you, they were not pleased with the cutoff there. They had to block it off. People couldn't take a left on Charlotte Street because of the traffic and the children in that area. And there's 2 very big children's parks right across the street from there. So I just think that type of business there raises a concern for me.
Well, the planning board signed off on it. They made all their recommendations, and I know they signed
They
off
worked
on
like
it.
5 months with engineers, how to get the, parking, contact, all these things around. They took a lot of time. And finally, they're okay with that. They approved the plan and we're going to give the permit for.
Well, I understand they approved their portion of it.
Oh.
Could I ask you a question? I believe it's Shawmut Street. Is that a one-way coming out towards North Shore Road?
Now it's 2-way. But
It's
I
2-way.
heard It's going to be 1-way.
That's my understanding.
One way.
So it's one going towards North Shore Road, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
all traffic has to go
So
down
it's not going to be
Sagamore.
outside traffic coming in the neighborhood. It's not.
Is there any, outside of this proposed convenience store, are there other convenience stores in the area other than across the street?
No, there is no other still, and it is.
Probably,
the 60 to North Shore Road, there is no other package store. The whole big neighborhood, they have to always follow the highway. Either the 60 this way, the balance, and the other side of North Shore Road is little that. I
Well,
think
we
it's
have-
going to be more helpful to the neighborhood. They don't have to cross the highway.
Now, we have 2 convenience stores in that area
Yeah,
on
we
Revere
have
Street.
one, too.
One is yours, and then
Yeah, I
there's
have
one
myself, that
right
307
closer to
is
Sagamore
mine.
Hill.
Yeah,
There are 2
but in
convenience.
the core, in the kind of the core of the residence, you'd be right in the
And they don't have
centralized.
parking at all. I had, this place has parking, so which is must.
7-Eleven has parking.
Yeah, 7-Eleven is there is in my town.
But they're across the street.
Yeah, they're across the street.
It's like Dunkin' Donuts when they do their franchise. When you look on the store, especially on streets that are major streets like this, you're going to see them put on one side and the other side. And they do that for a reason. They do it so that traffic does not have to cut across, make U-turns, and do whatever to get to the other side. It's just a safety concern. And that's why they.
Actually, you know, there is no other store on this side of North Shore Road since Illinois. From the new Illinois, this side of the street up to Boston, there is no store at all. That's you know.
This is it on the southbound side.
Any other questions?
No, I have no other questions, but the only thing living in the area, I will say there are 3 convenience stores that you can get to, and he owns one. You
Yes,
own
yeah,
one.
they don't have parking, obviously.
And I know that area very well, being brought up in that area.
Yeah.
And I know that street has been a problem for many years. Many years. Not because of you, it's been a problem, I think.
No, and by the way, I let you know, my store is doing great. I mean, I started with nothing, and this neighborhood loves it, and we are nice to everybody. I mean, everybody knows me, and that's I'm proud of. So,
I come in your store quite often.
Yes.
I do. And, you know, I'm just not going to go there about the parking problem with okay? I'm not going to go there either. But I just find this area, anywhere, when you opened that other store on Revere Street, I was, right there for you. I felt it was a good thing, and it is a good thing if you stay by the rules.
Yeah, and it came out
Right.
better, so
Yeah.
all your help. And I hope this is going to be better for us too, for all the neighborhoods.
Great.
He's certainly done a good job cleaning it up. I know what it looked like before.
I agree.
So you signed a 20-year lease?
No, I signed up for 6 year terms.
It says 20 years on this, but.
Yeah, but 6 years, 4 years, 5 years, four times.
He's got options on it.
Options.
We have options
Yeah,
on it.
5 years, 4 times.
So you plan on being there a long time?
Yeah, that's what I hope. I
That's the goal.
hope businesses stay on. And you all come to my store.
Sean, is that area how's the area at night over there? Is it controllable, or is it out of control?
Yeah, it's a quieter residential area.
Okay.
There's not much traffic through there, especially now that, like Linda said, they cut off the cutouts on North Shore Road. You can't take a left off North Shore Road in
That's
there
more
anymore.
during school hours.
No, they closed the barrier. They made a barrier, so
Oh, yeah?
you can't even turn onto Neponset Street anymore.
know
And Shawmut Street, you're not allowed to turn. There's a no left turn sign for the people coming out of the Wonderland parking lot. Also, the people on North Shore Road.
Gotcha.
I believe you can still turn if you're going southbound on North Shore Road. You can still turn right on Shawmut as it stands now, but
Yes.
you can't cut from northbound over.
Gotcha.
Have
I
you,
understand that might be changing also, that you're not going to be able to do that.
That's the first I've heard, but it wouldn't surprise me.
have you felt any, or have any letters sent to you, any opposition in the neighborhood about?
No.
On this?
The neighborhood all basically that all this neighborhood comes to my village, and they all happy about it. I don't know why they love me. I can say that. They heard the news, they saw the newspaper, and they actually appreciate it. They think it's a good idea to put a store there.
Yes.
It's a white neighborhood, and my service is very best, and people love it.
And he has been dealing with the city ward councilor from the get-go, and that was my instructions to him, make sure you speak with the ward councilor and start from there.
Great.
Have you spoken to the ward council?
I talked to him once before I even, approval for the building department. And he said it's going to be a good idea because you're doing a good job. You did the study, you clean up the mess, and it looks great store. You're a good businessman. That's what he told me. So I think...
No, I don't doubt that you'll keep it clean. Like I say, I do come in your store
Yeah.
on Revere
appreciate it.
Street
Thank
quite
you
a
so
bit.
much.
And they have been keeping it clean. For a while, there was a little problem, but they've been keeping it clean.
Sometimes manpower, you have to, So
Right.
I try to do my business right.
Any other questions?
I have no other questions.
Are there any proponents that want to speak on behalf of the applicant? Hearing and seeing none. Are there any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that. So let me ask you a question. So in terms of inspectional services, my understanding is you have all the preliminary approvals at this point in time?
Yes.
So what are you waiting for?
I'm waiting to which is still working on it, and tomorrow Mr. Pay is coming. If it's that, well done, then next week probably we can.
Okay, so if this is approved, it would be on a conditional basis based on, once you receive all the inspectional services sign-offs,
Yes, sure.
then you would open after
Yeah,
that?
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise I can
Okay.
I just have one other question. Do you plan on selling any wine nips at all? Sometimes they have the wine
No,
nips
no.
on the counter. No, you're not gonna? Okay. We've had a problem with that also.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one area that Commissioner Guanasso is right about. We've had a lot of complaints about nips in the neighborhood, and all the empties.
I'm not going to make any money.
Okay.
So, of course, I'm carrying everything in neighborhood. I'm not going to do anything to just make neighborhood upset.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Great. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
I'd like to be recorded as being opposed.
You're all set. Your license has been approved. Thank you. Good luck.
Common victuals license as well?
I'm sorry?
And a common victuals license as well?
Yes, yes. So both licenses, but you need to get all the approvals from the inspectional services before you're ready to.
There's no seating in there, right?
Yeah, and I'm sorry. One other question. So you don't have any seating in it. This is clearly
Yes.
convenience in and out. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Gardens, Revere Inc., doing business as Happy Gardens, application for a change of corporate name. Hi, please state your name and address for the record.
Amy Chen, 80
Could you speak up a little bit, please?
Amy Chen, 80 Revere Beach Boulevard, Revere, Mass.
Okay, so this change of name, will the ownership remain, will the operators and the ownership remain the same? So this is just in name only?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
I have no question.
I have no question.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
You're all set.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Michelle Roberts, doing business as Patriot Games, 30A Revere Beach Parkway. Please state your name and address for the record, please. This is an application for a new secondhand dealer's license.
Michelle Roberts, 25 Henry Street, Revere, Mass.
Right. And can you give us an idea of what you're planning to do?
Basically, it's video games, the consoles, all the accessories, collectibles.
So what kind of collectibles would you be?
Collectible toys and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Video
Like
game
a
guys,
GameStop,
yeah.
buy, sell, trade video game consoles, accessories, and that kind of stuff.
Okay. And what are you planning in terms of hours of operation?
Between like 10 and 6.
10 and 6?
Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of security and things like that for after hours, what are you planning in that?
Security, we're going to have cameras in the store and alarm system.
Okay, great. I don't have any questions. Any other?
There'll be no selling of any gold or silver
No.
at all? No, because that's not allowed under this license.
No.
This is just collectibles and...
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, you feel like a Newbury Comics kind of store. You're familiar with Newbury Comics, all kind of stuff.
Yep. Okay.
Pokemon, Mario.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Well, I heard that they just found an Atari game in a landfill
Yeah,
in Houston that sold for like $30,000 or something crazy.
I got the game, but not the one from the landfill.
Really
I have
nice.
an Atari.
It might be worth some money. I don't have any other questions.
I have no questions.
Great. Are there any proponents that want to speak on behalf of the applicant? Please. Proponent or opponent?
Charles Souza, I'm a neighbor of theirs, nothing against you people, got the building, I got complaints, I got fines from the tenants. I got a problem with that, not with you people, sorry, nothing, it's you.
All right. Let's hear this.
So, yeah, please step up and provide us with some information.
Old to clean.
So, are you a next door, are you a resident in the neighborhood?
Next door, for
You are.
47 years.
Okay. And
And all these years, I've been cleaning and keeping my mouth shut. And they cleaned one of the, either 3A, this come from the 30A. Fines, they put the stuff against my fence, and I end up here or next door.
so what kind of business was it before?
I don't know, a gym or something.
A gym?
Yeah, they ripped off these big mirrors. I got the pictures and the fines.
Okay.
They brought it around the corner and put it against my fence. All of a sudden, I got to pay for it. And I'm 72 years old, going to 73. I can't put up with it no more. Cars downstairs, same thing. Nothing with it. It's the building. They don't clean nothing around the building. Concrete falling, everything. All these years I've been cleaning. Oh, my son-in-law, my tenants.
So let me ask you a question. If they were agreeable to the upkeep of the property around your,
Clean up. This is the only commercial building in that area. The rest is residential. And the building's in bad shape. On the Atlantic Ave side, it's worn out, the bricks, the concrete. And,
I'm not diminishing anything you're saying here. I think I guess my concern is that your argument is not that may not be with the tenant, it's probably with the landlord.
and some of the tenants too, because these were the tenants that took the stuff out.
Yep.
And this is not the first time. I got 2 fines here. This is the second or third time that they
It's still
put the
the
stuff on the
landlord's
front,
responsibility.
and then they sent the inspector down, automatic, up the lane.
Yep, yeah, I understand.
So if these new tenants come in, they'll be the only ones occupying the building, correct?
No, there's a car garage down below.
Oh, there is, okay.
That's problem with papers,
Oh,
cups,
there's other issues.
cars
there, okay.
everywhere. And there's another, I think it's 30 and 38. It's
Okay.
a whole building. I mean, I'm sorry, I got no.
It's kind of hard to hold them responsible, I think.
I'm not.
The city has to go after
I'm not.
but the city has to go after the landlord. Honestly.
Yeah, again, the roofers did it, and it's only an alleyway between that building and mine. Stuff from the roof, buckets and stuff between the building. I'm having.
Well, I would suggest that you reach out to the Board of Health and the Building Department, because I think they're the agencies that could address your needs. And I'm sympathetic to them, I am.
This is my first time in here. I never complained.
Well, they just,
But,
the building, the way taken over, it's just all completely being renovated, people were in there before you, and that'll spend a lot of money, on the new bathroom, and repainting it, new garage, it's like brand new, walking into the building.
I didn't look in the building. I looked through the window and took pictures where these mirrors came from the wall. And no, they gone. I mean, the city and I called people. No, they painted the walls and everything.
I would suggest that you take that up with the Building Department and the Board of Health. I don't see any reason why I couldn't support their application. However, I will ask that they police the area and make sure that it's clean around your establishment and make sure that it's, sorry?
Everything blows right around the corner from the whole building.
I have those same issues. I feel your pain.
Sorry.
Okay, no, great, thank you. Are there any other opponents that want to speak? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you. Hearing and seeing none, is there
I'll make a motion.
a
to
motion?
approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Your license has been approved. Thank you. Thank you. Lobster Cabin, Inc. has been postponed. Yes, please. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Attorney Lawrence Simeone. I've talked to Maggie Hayes here, and we've got all the documents to file except for the good standing certificate, and we've had ongoing struggles trying to get this corporation to get a good standing certificate. It's more glitches within the administration at DOR, so I would ask you to continue us to December. I do have the applicant, the two applicants that have been running the business down there since 1990. So Mirage has been at that location for almost 20-some odd years, and they're now just going to take the license over with the long-term goal of probably buying the place at some point.
Great.
So if you have any questions, they are here. I don't know if you want them for the next hearing.
Well, we can ask them at the next hearing. I did have a couple of questions, but if you want to wait for the hearing.
Well, I mean, you can ask them now. Maybe they don't have to come up next time. It's up to you guys. They are here.
Well, there was some problems with the neighbors down there as far as the dumpster, and you had moved it, and someone said it was back again.
We don't have that information.
Is it-
We moved the dumpster for way back, the last time we had an area.
But then she had said it went back again, and you moved it.
It used to be on the opposite side of the bridge from Mary Ann's house,
Counsel,
the other side of the building.
Yes.
I would prefer to hold this over until the next meeting.
Okay,
We
fine.
don't have the paperwork
I understand.
to address it properly.
All right, not a problem.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Item number 8, David Lightbody doing business as the Boulevard Bar.
seven.
Oh, did I skip 7?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just skipped
Number
7.
7.
Sorry about that. MFRP Corporation doing business as the Squire. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Rob DePisa.
Great, thank you. So this is a review hearing based on, to measure really some of the changes that you've made over the course of time. You've made, you've met with the police department?
My clients did meet with the police department.
Can-
Mr. Pisa being one of 3 of the owners. I met with the chief and met with Officer Randall. Since that time, there's been no incidents, and so at this point, given the length of time, given the evidence at the hearings, I'd ask that the hearing be terminated and the violations withdrawn.
Okay. Can you just give me some information as to what your conversations with the police chief and Lieutenant Randall and some of those discussions?
My understanding, because I was not there, was that they kind of went over, what's been going on since that time. Committed to the chief is still committed to the 2 detail officers being there, and I don't think there was any dramatic changes from the present operation.
No, the only thing that we did, we spoke about, instead of the use of a wand at the front door, we did reinstall a metal detector at the front door to eliminate the human error.
Excellent. Appreciate that. Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Well, I'd just like to say I'm pleased to hear that it's quiet. But when this first came before us, this board sometimes takes a little heat because we ask you for certain procedures in place. And those procedures have helped you quite a bit. Because my first thing was maybe 12 o'clock was good enough. But with those procedures in place, it did help us see it clearer in the presentation that was brought before us, that it seemed like the club did do the best they could to keep things under control. That being said, I hope that we keep all those procedures in place and that we watch the venue there. But at this point, I don't see, after what was presented before me anyways, that there is any need to go forward on this issue.
No question.
Right. I see no reason why we just can't continue to move on and table this and just continue what you guys have been doing.
And at this point, we'd like to get off the table.
You're off the table.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You all in favor of taking?
Excuse me?
it?
Sorry?
We'll just close that case then.
Yeah, we'll just close that up. David Lightbody doing business as the Boulevard Bar and Grill. This is a hearing regarding, to address some of the state police and Revere police concerns about the increased pattern of violence and disturbances in and around the establishment. What I'm going to suggest is we have officers of both departments come up and provide their information, and we'll have you address it at that point. Okay? Thank you. Please state your name and address.
Sergeant Patricia Carey, 400 Revere Beach Parkway, Revere.
Great, thank you. So, so we understand that you've had some issues out at the establishment. Could you give us some details behind that?
Yes, sir. On 10/3 of 14, at approximately 1:48 a.m., I was assigned to a sector car and had arrived at the Boulevard Bar for a compliance check for a 2 a.m. closing. At this time, I observed a large crowd in front of the establishment. The crowd was looking back in the direction of the building, not milling about as usual if somebody's just getting ready to go home. At this time, I also heard yelling and screaming coming from the crowd. The crowd separated a bit, and I was able to observe 5 to 6 females fighting against the building. I informed our dispatch of a fight. I activated my emergency lights and drove across the street. At that time, Revere Dispatch notified state police along with all available Revere units to respond. I proceeded then into where the females were fighting. I announced, as I entered the crowd, there was a strong odor of burnt marijuana I could detect. I announced Revere Police and ordered the females to stop fighting. This was ignored. I had to physically pull away several females off of the pile. And as I was pulled several of the combatants away, other patrons were now pulling them away to get them away without them being identified. At this time, we had 8 Revere units respond along with any available state unit. I was able to grab one of the females. Her name was Reese. She stated she was only trying to break up the fight between 2 or 3 other females. At that time, another fight broke out over by the driveway area towards Bianchi's. Officer McCaskill and Officer Mullen had arrived and attempted to begin breaking up that fight. Officer McCaskill was also approached by a black male. He was unidentified, who stated that one of the combatants had a gun. Before he could ask any more questions, he melted back into the crowd and disappeared. As I was off with Reese, I observed many patrons now gathering around Officer Mullen and Officer McCaskill. I went over to assist them. And as we began separating people, they started drifting off and leaving the area to get away prior to being identified. At this time, the rest of the Revere police units and state police arrived on scene, and we began clearing the crowd. Due to the large amount of motor vehicles in the rear parking area, and in an effort to keep the peace, 5 officers, including myself, proceeded to clear the lot, while the remaining were dedicated to out front and clearing the crowd there. We have been to the Boulevard. We've noted escalating problems at the Boulevard, more violence at the Boulevard. And as such, since 6/22, Revere Police noted 15 times responses, whether they be directed patrol, assistance with fights from the state police, or in one case, a shooting. In that area, we've responded at least 15 times.
And when
The
was
fight that night was so bad that there was wigs and hair braids strewn about the sidewalk that night. We informed Jonathan Lightbody of our displeasure at the escalating violence, and that he would, and I told him I would be writing something up and sending it to be reviewed by the Licensing Commission.
And what time do you find these incidents taking place?
Anywhere between 1 and 2:20, I would say, when the crowd is clearing.
Okay.
We have a lot of bars to check, so we try to do the best we can. State has taken over being the eyes down the boulevard for us, and we are more than willing to go assist them any time. So,
And so when was the last incident that took place out at the establishment that the Revere PD had to respond to?
this was the most severe that we noted, other than there was a stabbing and a shooting, correct?
How come we never got these reports from 7?
It's not from back.
So some of it was in the back of the parking lot area. The fights are out in front and in the parking lot area. But state calls us for assistance when they note a fight going on, and we do the same.
Great. Thank you. Please state your name and address, Sergeant.
I'm Sergeant Edward Troy from the Mass State Police Revere Barracks.
Great, thank you. And can you give us some detail and background on what...
Over the course of the summer, I was the midnight supervisor from the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift, and more recently the evening shift, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. supervisor. I'll just give you a brief gist of some of the incidents that we've responded to there. The incident that was spoken of about the shots fired incident, 2 people were shot on July 26th. Earlier that evening, I observed at about shortly after midnight, I observed a crowd coming to that location that was significant. Many of the plates I ran could see people with significant criminal histories, violent offenders. As a result, I asked at least one of our patrols to stand by there for any time after 1 o'clock because oftentimes it seems that the club gets extremely busy late, usually after 1 p.m. because 1 a.m. because the clubs in places like Lynn close. I believe they have licenses at 1. They close at 1. As a result, those people all start heading over for last call, and they seem to hit this place for whatever reason. This bar seems to congregate these specific people. On the specific evening of September 26th, at approximately 1:55 a.m., Trooper Sepulveda was in the area as I instructed him. While he was there, the large crowd came out of the establishment and were milling around on the sidewalk and the street on the boulevard. Trooper exited his vehicle, stood outside. A short time later, he saw a scuffle occur and then heard shots fired. 2 individuals were shot. A male was shot in the stomach. A female was shot in the ankle. She was located in the parking lot, the real parking lot. That's a dirt parking lot back there. The male was on the sidewalk. They dragged him into a vehicle. The vehicle stopped as it went to flee the location. On that occasion, it was reported that 2 males had run north on the boulevard, and one individual had called the barracks and reported that a vehicle had fled at a very high rate of speed north on the boulevard after that incident, which caused significant problems because of the fact that the clubs north of there, as well as Kelly's, have a lot of people. And when you get a vehicle, what happens consistently is when our cruisers come in there and there's a fight late at night, cars scatter. When they scatter at a high rate of speed, and you've got pedestrians out on, at Kelly's and the other clubs getting out, which is a significant danger to those people. In that incident, too, the parties weren't cooperative. They wouldn't give any information. On August 10th, we received a call for illegally parked cars and loud loud noise in the area of the bar. As a result, we sent cruisers up there. At that time, they had to dispatch a large crowd, and they also found an unresponsive male party passed out in the rear parking lot. They had to call an ambulance and have him removed.
Sergeant, do you know what the cause of that was? Was it,
That was just an intoxicated male passed out.
What time was that? What time was that on that one?
2:19 a.m. On September 14th, again at 1:51 a.m., we requested for assistance with a loud crowd and an altercation. I believe that may be the incident that was just referred to by Revere. On September 28th, officers responded again to that location at 12:10 a.m. Officers observed a fight in progress. As a result, when officers came to disperse the crowd and investigate, one female was arrested for assault and battery, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. Also, one incident that I don't see in my notes here, but it was in September also, it was in the early evening hours. I was in the area of the bar. There was a large group of motorcycles that had pulled up to the bar. One was a dirt bike, and there were several that were racing-type bikes. When those vehicles left, they were in the bar, they left a short time later. Some of them were doing wheelies. I went to pull one over, specifically it was a dirt bike. It had no plate on it. That vehicle fled north on the boulevard and then turned down Oak Island the wrong way. I terminated the pursuit because of the danger to the person and anyone present. But they had come out of the bar as well. On October 1st, at 6:55 p.m., I received a call that an individual had been stabbed. The call was originally for 300 Ocean Ave. I went to that location. I located a male who was known to me, Steven Stoico, who had been stabbed. I spoke to him. He was uncooperative. He initially actually gave misleading information. As a result of our investigation, we determined that he had been stabbed in the rear parking lot of the Boulevard Bar and Grill. That was as a result of conversation with witnesses and some further conversation with Mr. Stoico himself. He had been stabbed by at least two males that fled the scene.
and how would you compare this to other establishments on the, on the boulevard?
The what?
How would you compare this with other establishments on the boulevard in terms of activity, severity, those kinds of things?
For whatever reason, this bar has been the biggest problem out of all the bars down there, for us at least consistently over the course of the summer. And now even into recently. We had another call on the 3rd for a large fight in progress at that location also. As a matter of fact, actually, that's the one the sergeant testified to.
No, it was, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, finish your thought.
There's just two more, I think. We had another one on October 4th. We had multiple cruises down there because it was a weekend. We knew that there was a high potential for problems there late at night. And again, there was one party was arrested for disorderly conduct outside the locations. We were trying to get people out of there. And as recent as last Friday, I think it was the 14th, there was a vehicle stolen in front of Nick's on the boulevard. It was two males had stolen a vehicle that was left running out front, and someone ran into Nick's to get some food. It was actually an off-duty Chelsea firefighter. The vehicle didn't have keys in it. He didn't think it could go very far because it's a new vehicle with the push-button start. He thought it wouldn't go. So we immediately began searching the area. Just on a hunch, I went to the rear parking lot of the Boulevard Bar and found the vehicle. It was crashed into the fence. One of the two parties was still with it. He fled onto the beach, and he was subsequently arrested. But as a result of these issues, specifically the late night issues, it's draining significant resources from us. There's been times where we've had to call for backup cruises because we may have as many as 5, but we may have as little as 2 troopers out working on those nights. And as a result, we have to call from the Danvers Barracks for assistance, from the Medford Barracks for assistance. Obviously, Revere is there to help, and and sometimes the Revere's had to call in other towns also to assist. But as a result, it's draining our resources from other places that our officers should be. But we have to put them down there because of the anticipation of the problems that are occurring, specifically at late night with large crowds.
So when would you think that things started to escalate at this establishment? And it seemed like for quite a while it was we perceived as quiet.
Yeah. In the summer, and specifically the weekend nights late are the worst times for incidents there. For whatever reason, yeah, it has been an unusual magnet for perhaps other reasons, but specifically the biggest problem that sucks the most resources out of our department is the late night Friday, Saturday night, sometimes Thursday, but after midnight, and specifically from after 1 a.m. is the worst, because the crowd keeps coming, like I said, from the places that they have the 1 o'clock licenses. The crowd keeps coming anywhere. They may leave those places early as midnight, and they're coming as late as 1:30, 1:45 to try and get in there, to get last call there. And the crowd, it's quadrupled easily from midnight to 2 a.m. And there's people that, as a result of it being crowded, you always get the element too that just pulls up and hangs out there. Just and that's not usually a good element. They're just looking for drunk females or something staggering out, hopefully in their mind. But that's another problem we have: is people sitting out there in cars. They don't seem to really be waiting for anyone specific that's in there. So.
Great. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please. So, Mr. Lightbody, can you address some of these issues and more importantly, for me, it seemed like it was pretty quiet, and then over the last several months, things have seemed to escalate and get out of control. So, can you tell me what you're doing differently now that you than prior to last summer, and can you address some of these issues that both sergeants have brought here today?
Well, to start, I know all these issues they're pretty much outside. I mean, it's not like it's hard for me to control what happens outside, other than the normal stuff, getting the people outside. And I understand, there was the isolated incident of the shooting, which obviously was a bad situation. But there were also 3 other bars in that city in that same exact week that there was a shooting. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm just bringing that up. Other than that, the only thing that has come to my attention was that girl fight, and everything else. From what I observed, from what I heard from my door guy, was that there was noise complaints. So when I took it, what I did was I made sure the windows were shut, and I told my guy, make sure the windows are shut constantly. After that girl situation, I put another guy on. So now I have 2 guys on in a 1,200 square foot place with a 75-person capacity. I put
I'm sorry, what is the capacity?
75.
75?
So I put a second door guy on just to make sure things were running smoothly. Since that point, one of my new door guys had actually known one of the troopers that was down there, and he did let him know that there was an issue with, like the officer said, there was an issue. He's seen some of the plates down there, and he was running some of the plates and realized that it was a violent crowd. And his words were, this place is going to explode one of these days. You guys got to fix this. At that point, I have gotten rid of my DJ on Friday nights. I have no more DJ on Friday night. My Saturday night crowd, I never really had much issues on Saturdays, but I did keep the second door guy on. So that being said, I can tell by my rings and my register tapes that there's no crowd down there anymore. It's impossible. If there is, they're not drinking anything. As far as people coming from other towns to sit in the parking lot, I mean, it's not my parking lot. You know, I mean, when I tried to get a bus moved out of that parking lot that was sitting there for a month, I couldn't get it out of there. If it was mine, I could have just towed it out. I mean, I can't control people coming and sitting behind my establishment. I mean, it's as far as I know, it's a public way, and there's houses that's the access with it. There's 3 houses back there, so.
So let me ask you a question. I mean, it seems to me that all the incidents that took place outside of the bar are a function of what, you know, what's going on, and it seems like you've taken certain steps. I mean, what other things can you do to control that process? I recognize you can't control certain people coming in, but you can control the door, and you can take other steps inside the establishment. And I'd be also curious as to what the Revere Police and the State Police would like to see in the way of either measures to be taken.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
After that, the girl altercation, I was told by the bouncers that there was a serious police presence there. So once I was notified of that, I called the chief, and he called me back the next day.
The Revere chief?
Yes. And I said, is there something that I can do? Is there anything what's going on? Is there a reason for the presence? Is this, you know, he said, and it's just protocol, and when there's an issue like that, and it seems like an unruly crowd, that they start to pay attention a little more, and they put a presence there. And I said, okay, if there's anything else I can do personally, please let me know. If you think I require a detail, I'll put one. I said, but just let me know. And he goes, if there's another altercation, then, you know, we're going to have to take the next step. And I said, okay, thank you, and that was the end of it. But since then, which was a week prior to that, there's been no more DJ there on Friday nights. We terminated him. So just to appease everybody, I had no idea that the situation that was that bad, because I had only heard about 2 altercations. I mean, as far as the 6 p.m. altercations, when there's a motorcycle from the front of the bar that pulls up and then flees the police for whatever reason, I have no idea. That shouldn't be my responsibility, as well as when there's a stabbing in the back and from 2 people that a guy that I'd never heard of, that wasn't even in my establishment before that happened. So I was notified about that as well. So as far as that, I mean, you know.
So are you there? Are you there on the weekend nights, or?
I'm not there on the weekend.
So
nights.
who's in charge at that point in time? Is it somebody that has
my nephew Jonathan was the manager and a working bartender, and he was my on-site manager. I was giving him extra to make sure things were proper, and I had 2 guys, security guys, at the door that were in contact with me whenever there was an issue. They would let me know right away. The ABC had been there 4 times last month, just doing random checks every weekend, and there was no issues. There was 1 issue with a slide bolt on an exit screen door that I removed.
So how do you move people out of there and get them out more effectively than you have in the past?
Well, the alcohol has been removed, and they have been out by 2 o'clock. I haven't had any violations, and the police have been there every weekend. So there haven't been any violations as far as liquor being served or on the tables past the times that they're supposed to be. So, you know, once I get the people outside, I mean, I guess if I would have to get a detail, I guess, and just have, but since there's been such a giant police presence, I didn't really see a police detail necessary. Once I had them out of my establishment, once there was no establishment issues inside, then, you know, I kind of assumed.
What do you think is drawing them to your location?
I don't know. I'm going to assume it was the DJ. You know, without getting too far into it and sounding like a bad person, maybe it was the kind of music attracting a certain type of people that happened to be aggressive. I don't know. I mean, I didn't have too many issues prior to that shooting, and then once that shooting happened, like he said, it did seem like there was, you know, scuffles or calls or stuff like that, but there was nothing serious, and it was never in the building. It was always after. I don't know if the people in the parking lot waiting for people to come out. I don't know who was involved, but.
So when did you stop the DJ?
I stopped the DJ 2 weeks ago, so this will be the 3rd week.
Third week?
It might have been 3 weeks ago.
Sergeant, any incidents in the last couple of weeks that that come to mind?
No, just the, let's see, like I said, the November 14th, small motor vehicle that pulled into the back lot there. One of the people was still there, the other one couldn't even look at it.
Okay.
And before that, I believe the last one was, last time there was a crowd type problem for night. That was the 4th.
4th of October?
Yes. One of us outside the sort of contact with us as a result of trying to get a crowd out of there late night. That was actually just after midnight.
It's 12:15.
Quick question. So on the shooting on the 26th, the stabbing on the 1st,
Yes.
in the woman's fight on the 14th, did any of them originate from the boulevard, or were they physically in the boulevard first and they came out, or were they just happened to be conglomerating up around the club? So
The shooting people were from the club. They came out of the club.
okay.
The stabbing, we don't, well, it's not a problem. We don't have identification on those people. Hasn't solved Revere is working on that. They said the victim, this person was known to me, was uncooperative.
Gotcha.
As a matter of fact, gave misleading information. However, one of the issues is that many of these clubs, especially, many of these clubs have security systems where they have video. When we've come to here, they don't seem to have any video. Most places will have a camera in the back lot, a camera inside, a camera in front. A lot of these things, the shooting, certainly the stabbing, the other person in the stolen car, all would have been easily probably been identified if we had some kind of video. It's one place that doesn't have any video system for us to have any assistance.
All right, thank you. Would you, Sergeant Carey, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
As far as the girl fight, that was from patrons from the bar. They were on curvilege, which is in that piped area, that fenced off area. They were in that area, up against the building, and we received no phone call regarding it. I checked with our dispatch. We received no call to the Revere Police regarding the fight.
Okay, great, thank you.
That's the same with us, too. We generally don't receive calls from the bar. It's usually from someone passing by in a motor vehicle that sees the fire, sees something happening, and calls on the phone. So we don't get calls from the bar for these situations.
Right. So, the one thing that's sort of disturbing to me. One of the things that generally if there are disturbances that there'd be calls from the establishment. We're not here to penalize you for calling. We'd rather have you call than not call. But aside from that, we're still concerned with the amount of incidents that are taking place. Would you be willing to put in surveillance equipment in there so that...
I actually have surveillance there, but no one had approached me on any kind of video, especially the stabbing. But when I had talked to a friend of mine that was a Revere cop, he had asked me, he had been coming down, he was investigating, and he said, "Where are your cameras located?" I said, "I have one on the dumpster, and everything else is inside the building." And he said, "Do you have everything in the driveway?" I said, "I do not." As far as the stabbing is concerned, I didn't know anything about it. No one approached me about any kind of surveillance or anything, but I do have something on the dumpster. That was the only thing that I have. And if it's close enough in date, I don't know how far back they go, but I'd be willing to certainly let somebody sit down and look at them.
Questions?
Is this system already in place? You have a system in the building?
Yes.
A video system?
Yes. Its entirety is pretty much in the building, on the register, on the doors, on the exits, stuff like that. And then there is the one that just faces down the stairs and gets like the 2 parking spots at the bottom of my stairs. It's mainly for the entrance. If anyone were to try to break in, you'd see them. And you catch a little bit of the dumpster area. That's pretty much it. I don't think it'd be any issue with me putting up a camera back there. I mean, it'd just be adding one camera to the system. It wouldn't be an issue.
And that
Well, I
would-
think when,
If that is something you would like me to do, I have no problem with that.
at night, does any of your security that you have there go in the back when your club breaks to see that they leave
They
in
do
an
not.
orderly fashion?
They do not, no. I mean, like, I understand that could be an issue, but as far as making a bartender, a bouncer, or a doorman work out behind the building, when and something I don't even notice. I mean, at the parking lot, we have very few parking spaces back there that are actually ours, and that's not even ours. Like I said, there was a bus parked on it, and I couldn't get it moved.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's my responsibility, if it's something that I have to do. I don't know. I mean, I guess
Do
I
you
would have to
have
be
any-
advised,
Do you have any kind of metal detectors?
Yes, we do.
You're saying how did someone get in with a gun or a
No,
knife?
no one knows whether that person that had the gun was in the building or not. Somebody that was in the building was shot, but we don't know if anyone that came in that building, they're scanned. We have a scanner in that place.
And was it used that evening?
Well, we got it after that incident. I mean, we had never had an incident prior to that. Since then, we used the wand on everybody down there. We have 2 people at the door.
So how do we know that you're using one on a consistent basis?
I mean, I don't know. I guess you have to trust me on that one. I don't know. I mean, that's part of their job. They have a wand, and they have the other one checks IDs. So one does a full body check with the wand, just like if you go into the airport or a basketball game or anything like that. And then the other one's checking IDs. And then, and as far as when there was the girl issue and there was the fight, and somebody having the gun in the crowd, I mean, I don't think that they were in the bar with it. I mean, they were wanded. I mean,
Can you tell me, how do they enter the building? Do they all come from the front, or do you allow
yes.
them to use the
No,
back?
no
doors?
back entrance.
And
No
can
back
they-
entrance allowed.
Can they exit by the back door?
No.
Other than emergency?
No.
So they have to come through that
There's a
front?
board on the back exit that is put there, and there's a bouncer that actually stays in the back of the building. He walks through the building, checks, makes sure everything's okay. And
So that's just one entrance and exit other than emergency?
there's 3. There's one on the back, one on the side, and one on the front that we had to lock on the screen door for the summer night so we could open. And wouldn't allow people to come in that way. But now I was told from the ABC you can't have that lock on the emergency exit door, even though it was a screen door. So we had to remove that, so now that door has to remain closed. So there's just that one entrance that everybody comes in and out of, yes, correct.
So it seems like it's easy and under control. You have capacity of 75 people, you're saying? And
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't had any issues inside.
Is it worth you letting people come in there after 1 o'clock, 1:15?
No, since like I said, since that altercation, and I've done everything I possibly can. I've stopped the DJ, which I believe was the fuel behind the fire, which was that kind of music, was kind of bringing people there. So since then, I've actually been yelled at and everything else because I've taken it out. They called me racist and every other thing in the world. So since then, I mean, I shut the jukebox off. They haven't even been able to use the jukebox on Friday nights for the past 3 weeks.
So if someone came there at 1:15, 1:20, you would still
I
Want them
wouldn't
to-
let them. I actually asked, my bouncer actually asked me, because he didn't want them back there either. They don't want that kind of issue either. They're both, they don't want to get in any kind of troubles. He asked me if he could put cones in front of the driveway to keep people from going. I was like, well, you can't because it's residential. He's like, well, can I stand there and, tell people we're not letting people in the bar? I said, absolutely.
Well, I just think that anybody that's going to come at 1:15 obviously has been
I agree 100%.
somewhere else.
I agree with you
And,
100%.
I don't know that you want those kind of customers that have been out already and
I don't think any bar in the city of Revere will want that kind of customer, which I'm sure some of us do attract. I'm sure I'm not the only place, but, like I said, I got rid of the music. I still have 2 bouncers on. I'm just about on the losing fringe of money every week. From, the make, where we were doing well, and there was a couple altercations, and I had to take it on the hip and say, okay, listen, party's over, no more money, let's just keep this place safe. And that's pretty much what I've been trying to do for the past 3
now
weeks.
when they were outside, they have that bar area, you have those, you don't have seating out there. You don't put seating.
It's allowed. I actually came up here for it, but there's no reason for me to have it there because I'm not allowed to have alcohol out there. So
Right.
in the summertime, we wanted to put tables out for food, but everyone wants a beer with their food or oysters, whatever they were eating. So it's kind of moot. So I didn't even bother putting them out there. And I've never had one out there. But I do have a permit for it.
I just think it's, honestly, it's small enough that you should be able to control. I just don't understand how it can get out of hand like that. Those are serious, serious altercations that happen in the establishment.
There was the shooting outside, and other than that, there wasn't really a very serious altercation. There was a girl fight. I understand that they were unruly, but they were girls.
Well, girls can be girls too.
Right, but they could be girls anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't understand how it could have been that much of a situation in this 5 girls fights. I understand it was an issue, but other than that, it's not like I have people down there stabbing and shooting and fighting and gangbanging
Well,
down there.
it's just, I feel when people like yourself come up here and tell us about the problems we have, and then we have officers come up and tell us things that have happened, it's
No, I'm definitely
unbelievable.
sympathetic to the situation. That's why I have done what I've done up to this point. It was unbeknownst to me until basically when that girl fight happened. And since then, I've gotten rid
But
of
don't you
people.
find it unfair that we have to tie up Revere Police, state,
The present was-
and
the
other
pre-
communities too, and it's an embarrassment to our community
Well, the
that we
presence
have
was,
to call.
the presence was there as a precaution to what they did when they seen the plates. When they ran the plates, that's when they started putting officers down there. So I understand it was a precaution, but there was no altercations, so I didn't understand.
But
I did
maybe
not
there was
know.
no altercations because of their presence
Right.
and protecting the community, because
Right.
they wouldn't stay here long seeing that kind of
And-
visibility sitting out
Exactly,
there.
and then, but once that altercation did happen, I also did get rid of the music and all the other stuff that I believe was causing the issue. And since then, there's been no issue.
So do you stop people from coming into the club after 1 o'clock?
Yes.
You do? Okay. And do you think a detail would help?
And not with the police presence that we've had. There's been a lot of police there, and with the numbers I'm doing now, I don't believe it would help just because I have 2 bartenders on, 2 bouncers on with maybe 20 people, 30 people on a Friday. That's more than any other bar in the city does.
To be
It's hard for me to
honest with
control
you-
my clientele, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry?
It's hard for me to control my clientele, like who's coming in, other than I change the music.
Well, I think your venue has a lot to do with it, and I
The
think
venue.
that your hours. I think letting someone come in at 1, 1:15, 1:30, you've got to assume they're going to have problems.
Well, I don't think there's anybody that said that was happening, people coming in at 1:30. We know that there was altercations after that time. We don't know if those people were coming in at that time. I have no way of knowing that. I don't know if these people came in that time and then came in and got in a fight, or if it was people that were already in there that got in a fight.
Well, I think it was stated, unless I'm wrong, that there were people waiting, trying to get in late.
And trying to get it, correct.
Right.
Mhm.
So they were coming there after 1 o'clock.
But they were not allowed in. They were trying to get in after 1 o'clock.
Do the bouncers, bartender know, is it like a procedure protocol on how to communicate to the police, Revere, State Troop?
The 2 guys that I have that work there know every cop that's down there. They both worked at Volare. They both work in town. They're both very good guys. They're both everybody knows who they are. They know how to do everything and notify who they have to notify. Most of the time the police are called before, usually by either a patron or like you said, a car going by or something like that.
Because I thought officer said he didn't get a call, he actually came down, or he was patrolling the area, is that true?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they did.
You actually didn't get a call on 1 or 2 of the
The
events?
girl fight, yeah.
The girl
Sorry
fight.
to keep referring to it like
The
that.
state police generally don't get calls from the bar. We don't get calls from the bar. We get calls from patrons usually going by in motor vehicles to see a fire when we get calls. But as a result of the issues, we have been sending cruisers down at that time because of anticipated problems.
How would you say the last couple of weeks have gone?
Other than those dates I told you, we didn't have anything else more recent than last Friday night. The only thing I take issue was with the night of the stabbing. We specifically asked the people that work at the bar, because we thought there was potentially some video cameras. They told us that there's no video, that the video cameras don't work. And I know that the detectives who were there inquired further about it, and they told me no video.
So there's a couple of concerns I have and things that I'd like to see.
Okay.
One is that there has to be some better communication with your people within the club. It's clear that they're not aware of things going on outside the club at the moment, as far as I can see. How many people do they have on staff on any given night, on the weekends?
Friday, we have 2 bartenders and 2 door people.
So there's 4?
There's 4 people on.
And your capacity 75, how many do you get 75?
Yeah, we get 75, yes.
Yeah. And do you think?
I never clicked on or anything like that, but we actually have been paying a lot more attention to that since, obviously you don't really realize until something happens. No one's down there with a clicker or anything like that, but the ABC has been come down and they had checked capacity and they said the capacity was okay. They had checked the liquor room, they had checked IDs, we met everything that they came down for. They were down 4 times in the past month for whatever reason, but they were down there 4 times in the past month and we were in compliance every time.
I mean, I'd like to see better communication, but I also would like to see that there's procedures in place if there are incidents. Same with people leaving the establishment. I think that it's important that there's a presence there. I'd also like to see cameras on the driveway side and in the back of the building, and maybe I would suggest that you meet with Lieutenant Randall and the police department and the state police to discuss some of the measures that they feel you should take.
Okay.
I'm troubled, and it's disturbing to me. I recognize a lot of the incidents have been outside, but just the same, they're not happening outside other establishments. They're happening outside yours at the moment.
Right. Well,
So.
Yeah, within that period, I completely agree with you 100%. Prior to that shooting, and since I've done what I believe is the right thing to do. Unless Mr. Randall or another officer can tell me something else I can do, I'd be willing to do it.
So if you're willing to meet with them, add cameras, put some procedures in place that you could present to this board, I'm inclined to table it for 30 days, see how 30 days go. I'd like to get reports back from both departments in terms of any incidents that take place, and if it continues, then I would suggest that we roll back hours. Quite honestly, I mean, I think I'll give you an opportunity. It seems like you took steps. I don't believe they went far enough, but you took steps, and I'm concerned about not only the patrons but the police officers.
Well, it's my nephew and niece that work there as well, so.
You're also put them in danger as well.
Exactly. Well, just to show you, I am sympathetic to the situation. I mean, I do not want anything to happen in there as well. I mean, on top of.
Well, I'm not suggesting that you would. I don't think anybody would.
I definitely want to fix this problem, and if I'm willing to listen or take any advice from both officers and be in compliance.
Unless my colleague.
Well, I agree with Commissioner Forantello. The part that I have a little bit of problem with is the camera in the back, because those are private homes back there. Mm-hmm. And they do park their private cars there and they come and go. I don't know that we want to keep cameras on them, but I think
we wouldn't have to do that.
I think if you came down where, like you say, your doorway and the side you have by Bianchi's, you have another entrance there. If you could video that.
Yeah,
I think the video should be on at all times. The wand has got to be working. And to be honest with you, we're listening to the officers. They're going down there all the time. A 911 call for help before they have to come. You could probably stop something a lot quicker before it gets out of hand. It may have been 2 girls fighting if you had called for backup, rather than 6 of them get involved. Someone has got to call and report these incidents. And I know you don't want to come back here, but the bottom line is the officer's going to come back anyways. So I think you've got to teach them, if something's starting in your establishment, ask for help to get them moving along away from your building, is what I would like to see.
I mean, in principle, do you agree with
Absolutely.
There's one last thing.
Yeah, sure.
Now, next Wednesday is Thanksgiving Eve, correct? That's a big night out these days. I don't know
Correct.
why all of a sudden. Is that, do you expect any
No,
large crowd in there?
we typically don't do much down there at all
Okay.
for that particular day. But I will have 2 bartenders and two bouncers on. We're not having a DJ or anything like that. So I'm not expecting a crowd.
So what do you do for entertainment if you don't have a DJ?
Typically nothing. We don't
Nothing.
we just have a jukebox.
Oh,
That's
And you've been shutting that off at 1?
yeah, that's been shut down. Yeah, like I said, ever since there's been issues, I shut the jukebox off. I got rid of the DJs. We still had a Saturday night DJ, but it's completely different.
Sergeants, any suggestions, comments, anything that you'd like to add? I think that, in light of, and I take the incidents very seriously. It seems like they've made some steps. I think I'm inclined to table it and give them a little bit of time to see how that plays out. And is there any disagreement with that, or is there anything that you'd like to suggest, add?
No, I think those things may very well help. Like I said, certainly, if it's known by people, it is determined with the cameras and things like that too, they're less inclined to cause problems. Like I said, there are homes back there, but they're on the other side of the Yankees. The issue, the problem is really from the driveway down the dirt lot, not over toward those homes. So if there were a camera that was pointing back in that direction, that would be helpful. Because that's it's a dark parking lot. It's one of those places where people feel comfortable. Maybe they can get away with it.
Can you meet with ownership of that parking lot and potentially the residents and come up with some kind of plan from preventing people going back there?
Yes, I mean, I don't know if I have to really even talk to the residents, just because I'm fairly confident I can get all these cameras to get the parking lot without having any kind of resident issue.
Well, I'm thinking
just
stopping it
to let
before
them
people
know.
actually, before people actually get down and back there.
Just to let them know that they're going to be there. Yeah, I mean, I can notify the abutters. I actually talked to one of them before about a noise complaint, and we just we took care of it. So
I would think they would be happy if you
I would think so too.
put
Yeah,
lighting
yeah,
back
absolutely.
there. As
I
long as you
probably
put it to the left, because I know they do drive down that driveway.
Yeah, yeah.
And you put it to the left. I think they'd be happy with that.
Yeah, no problem. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I mean, I could either just install them, or I could get advice from them where they'd like them. I'm willing to do whatever, either one.
So unless the state police or Revere police have any opposition to
Like I
that?
said, if there's a call made, if they notice that there's a crowd hanging outside, waiting for the place to get out, they can always give a call to us. They're not supposed to park there anymore on the other side, and we can just move them out. And we're glad to kind of do that to prevent any problems.
Great, so you'll meet with both departments and come up with a plan. We'll outline to you the things that we discussed today, send it to you in writing if you could respond, and we'll table this for 30 days, see how the 30 days goes, and then from there make a decision on how we move forward.
Perfect, that sounds
Okay.
great. If I just have, who would you like me to reach out to? Would it be?
Yeah, reach out through Lieutenant Randall.
All right, so I'll just get the numbers and I can.
Yep.
That's perfect, that's fine. with me.
Set up a meeting and sit with them.
Wonderful.
Great. Any other questions? Lieutenant Randall? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. License renewals for 2015. You guys are,
Read off the whole.
I do, you know.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, you're in the one that are in a hurry.
Yeah, I know. And you're going to do some of them.
One eye.
Oh, yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
got
I'm
one.
sorry.
Yeah, I got one.
I'll do it. License renewals for 2015 common victuals. AMBE Corporation doing business as Broadway Convenient Mart, 623 Broadway. Joel Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Domino's Pizza, 570 Broadway. Revere Center Cafe, Inc., 78 Everett Street. Salvatore Ice Cream, Inc., doing business as Toretta's Bakery, 652 Winthrop Avenue. Caffin Corporation, doing business as Shanghai Express, 120 VFW Parkway. The Wendy's Company, doing business as Wendy's, 39 Squire Road. Grenquist Engineering and Capital Services, Inc., doing business as Cordo Ditto, 1300 North Shore Road. Sharad Shah, doing business as Bread Basket Convenience Store, 535 Broadway. Tory LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 477 Beach Street. Grieg and Vango, Inc., doing business as Beachmont Roast Beef, 629 Winthrop Avenue. BJ's Wholesale Club, Inc., doing business as BJ's Wholesale Club, 175 5 Ward Street. Sud Guru Hotel LLC, doing business as Fairfield Inn and Suites, 100 Morris Street. Tedeschi Food Shops, Inc., doing business as Tedeschi's Food Shops, number 22372 Squire Road, and number 152 191 193 Shirley Avenue. Justin Donuts, Inc., doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 345 Frank Bennett Highway. Courtyard Donuts, Inc., doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 90 American Legion Highway. Courtyard Donuts, Inc., doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 665 North Shore Road. RMG Donuts, LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 1 Bennington Street. Safi's Market, Inc., 691 Broadway. Jaya, LLC, doing business as Subway, 3 Everett Street. Vipul Patel, doing business as 7-Eleven Foods, number 27471, 1120 North Shore Road. Domino Brothers Restaurant, Inc., doing business as Domino's Subs, 190 Revere Beach Parkway. Sarah L. Tech Management, doing business as McDonald's, 339 Squire Road. Antonella's, Inc., 744 Broadway. Maxim Zengo, doing business as Max Roast Beef and Pizza, 35 Revere Street. Ortez Corporation, Inc., doing business as Polo Royal Restaurant, 529 Broadway. Salvi's Donuts, LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 35 Squire Road. And Dunkin' Donuts at 30 Squire Road. SS Donuts, LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 145 Broadway. Jing's Revere, doing business as Jing's Garden, 163 Squire Road. Marco Ariello Leal, doing business as Cafe Necco, 135 American Legion Highway. Bagel Bin, Inc., 207 Shirley Avenue. Demula Supermarket, Inc., doing business as The Market Basket, 275 Squire Road. Seek Lee Kong, doing business as Timur Da Restaurant, 144 Shirley Ave. Suffolk Diner, LLC, 10 Furlong Drive. Lee Burbank Highway Service Station, Inc., doing business as Super Sunoco, 251 Lee Burbank Highway. Redberry Resto Brands International, Inc., doing business as Pizza Hut, 2434 5 Everett Avenue. Mahaver Enterprises, doing business as Convenient Mart in Delhi, 270 Broadway. Krishna Enterprises, Inc., doing business as One Stop Convenience Store, 345 Revere Street. Class 2 Motor Vehicle Dealers. Metropolitan Acceptance Corp., 1605 North Shore Road. Burbank Auto Sales, Inc., doing business as 1A Auto Way, 441 Lee Burbank Highway. Kagan Service Station, Inc., doing business as P&B Automotive, 907 North Shore Road. NLR Corporation, doing business as Nick's Auto Sales, 141 Lee Burbank Highway. John Sika, doing business as Commonwealth Auto Sales, 335 Lee Burbank Highway. 1A Corporate Auto Sales and Leasing 2, Inc., 275 Lee Burbank Highway. North Shore Auto Sales, Inc., 1107 North Shore Road. The Hertz Corporation, doing business as the Hertz Car Sales, 40 Lee Burbank Highway. Manuel Galino, doing business as Galino's Auto, 1062 Broadway. Master Auto Sales, Inc., 1027 Broadway. Louis Taglieri Jr., doing business as Lease Towing and Auto Salvage, 1089R Broadway. Miguel A. Gonzalez, doing business as La Jolla Auto Sales and Service, 1420 North Shore Road. Lodging Houses, Edward Rizzo, doing business as R&R Shirley Realty Trust, 194 Shirley Avenue. David J. Gillard, doing business as R&R Realty Trust, 72 DeHone Street. Entertainment, BJ's Wholesale Club, Inc., doing business as BJ's Wholesale Club, 175 5 Ward Street. Ortiz Corporation, Inc., doing business as Polo Royal Restaurant, 529 Broadway. Suffolk Diner, LLC, 10 Furlong Drive. RMG Donuts LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 1 Bennington Street. Redberry Resto Brands International, Inc., doing business as Pizza Hut, 2434 5 Everett Avenue.
Sadhguru Hotel LLC, doing business as Fairfield Inn and Suites, 100 Morris Street. Tedeschi Food Shops, Inc., doing business as Tedeschi Food Shops, number 223, 72 Squire Road. Tedeschi Food Shops, Inc., doing business as Tedeschi Food Shops, 152, 191-193 Shirley Ave. And Demoulas Supermarkets, Inc., doing business as Market Basket, 275 Squire Road. Gold, silver, precious metals, and jewelry dealers. Larry Bagnera, doing business as La Villa Jewelry, 396 Broadway, and Jewelry Box, Inc., 345 Broadway. Secondhand dealers, Larry Bagnera, doing business as La Villa Jewelry, 396 Broadway, and Jewelry Box, Inc., 345 Broadway. Pawnbrokers, Larry Bagnera, doing business as La Villa Jewelry, 396 Broadway, and the Jewelry Box, Inc., 345 Broadway. Automatic amusement devices, Speakeasy, Inc., 118 Broadway, 5 devices. David Lightbody, doing business as the Boulevard Bar and Grill, 320 Revere Beach Boulevard, 3 devices. The Sons of Revere, LLC, 8 Revere Street, 5 devices. Pool table, Cinco de Mayo, 2, doing business as Pancho Villa Mexican Grill, 124 Centennial Ave, 2 tables. Patriot Civic Club, Inc., 93 Patriot Parkway, 1 table. Broad Sound Tuna Club, Inc., 567 North Shore Road, 1 table. Inn Hotel and Motel, Logan Hospitality Associates, LLC, doing business as 4 Points by Sheraton, Boston Logan Airport, 407 Squire Road. And Class 1 Motor Vehicle Dealer, Black Marble Motorcycles, LLC, doing business as Boston Harley Davidson, 649-1 Squire Road.
Great. Communications, notification from the following package stores that they will begin opening on Sundays at 10 a.m. on October 23rd, 2014, when the amended law becomes effective. P&M Liquors, LLC, doing business as State Road Liquors and Food Mart, 116 State Road. Revere Liquors, Inc., doing business as D&L Discount Liquors, 653 Broadway. Hannah Chow and Hong Chow, doing business as Orange Grove Market, 158 Shirley Avenue. Dairy Mart Liquor, Inc., doing business as Dairy Mart Liquor, 160 Squire Road. Enterprise Liquor Store, Inc., doing business as Woody's Liquors, 632 Broadway.
264.
I'm sorry?
264.
I'm sorry, 264, 266 Broadway. AMBE Corp., doing business as Broadway Convenient Mart, 632 Broadway. Telephone communication of complaint concerning loud music and disruptive patrons at the American Legion Post, 161. Email communication of a complaint alleging loud music and disruptive patrons at American Legion Post, 61. Both of those issues have been addressed by a letter to the establishments. Next meeting is Wednesday, December 17th at 3 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.